Hello, welcome to our hair restoration virtual event. This is Steve Ronan from Blackhawk Plastic Surgery and Hair Restoration Center. Our practice is located in Blackhawk, California, in the Blackhawk Plaza. It's a beautiful East Bay suburb of San Francisco, and I want to thank you all for attending our event. Tonight we're going to review a whole bunch of exciting new hair treatment options that are available at our Hair Restoration Center. These include the latest Artis hair restoration robot. We also have neograft machines, we have manual FUE, and we also have the capability of doing strips. So what we like to do is have lots of technologies available. We evaluate each scalp individually and then pick the type of technology that's best for that particular scalp. There are some that are better for the robot, others that are better for manual FUE, others that are better for a strip. But you can be assured that we're going to evaluate you and suggest perhaps the best one for you and your particular needs. In addition, we have some medical equipment to evaluate you. So one of the things that we can do is something called dermoscopy. And so that's basically a high definition camera with a macro lens that is placed right up against your scalp and lets us see highly detailed images of your scalp and your hair. So we can show you on a big screen the hairs that are getting miniaturized, or if you have inflammation of your scalp or a problem with the actual scalp. So it's pretty helpful to actually see that with your own eyes and understand what's going on in your scalp and with your hair. And then it makes the solution that we might recommend easier to understand, because you can actually see what we're going to be working on. So I've been doing hair procedures for both men and women for a long time. We have lots of happy customers. We've helped many people. And with all of our new technology additions, we should be able to help even more. And you're going to meet also our hair restoration director, Adriane McDonald. So she is a nurse that has been working in the hair transplant industry for about 20 years now. We took her all the way from Italy. She actually grew up in Italy, eventually came to the United States, and has been intimately associated with the hair transplant industry for a long time. So we're very lucky to have her join our team and really make some very nice contributions to the practice. At the end of the event, we're going to have a question and answer session. So at any time, you can send in your questions online through the questions tab. We're going to be kind of keeping track of those, and Adriane and I are going to answer all your questions at the end. Even if it's on another topic, we're happy to cover that too. Also at the end, we'll be telling you about the special offer that we have for each one of you that has attended tonight. It's a value offered at $250, and when you stay to the end, we'll sign you up for that. So let's get going with our virtual event. Thank you so much for attending.
Hi, I'm Adriane McDonald. Welcome to our event. I am the Director of Hair Restoration here at Blackhawk, and I'm really excited to be here and introduce you to everything that we do here during your journey of hair loss. I've been in the industry for over 30 years, and the biggest reward is seeing our patients happy and back to themselves after our treatments. During our consultation here at Blackhawk, our number one goal is understand the causes of hair loss. What has brought you to lose your hair? There could be many causes for hair loss. The most typical is simply genetics, but we want to rule out any other possible diagnosis that could be causing your hair loss. We do a thorough consultation. With that meaning we have our dermoscope that will actually do an analysis of your scalp and of your hair follicle, where we can determine what is the cause of your hair loss. Another big Plus, on doing this during your consultation is understanding if you are a candidate for our surgical treatment, what is the actual density of your donor area and how much can we actually restore your hair. We here at Blackhawk do treat both men and women in all aspects. So if you are simply losing your hair or you want more hair, thicker hair, we can approach it both surgically and medically. When you leave, you will know what your best treatment option is, the pricing, and possibly how to best approach it and what time frame to best approach it. The other aspect is of our treatments is our thorough follow-up care for the patients, meaning we follow up multiple times during your journey with us, and even after you have accomplished your goal with your hair loss, we keep following up on you. So it is something that we do together, and that we keep you on track so that your hair loss is stabilized. Here at Blackhawk Hair Restoration, we are able to offer different treatments for you. The surgical approach, we do both the FUE, which stands for follicular unit extraction, and the FUT, which stands for follicular unit transplant, also known as the strip method. Each one of you will be candidate for one or the other. Our end goal is to get the number of grafts, follicles that you need to accomplish your goals. For the FUE, we have the highest technology that we can offer. We use the robotic Artist IX, the latest on the market. We also have the NeoGraft or simply the manual. These are simply tools to accomplish our goal of getting the grafts that we need for you. One is not better than the other, but we can offer all three depending on what is best for you. So we really tailor it to you as a patient. The same thing goes for the FUT approach, and some patients prefer that method. Again, we still accomplish the same goal on getting the number of grafts that we need to accomplish your end result. On the other side, some patients who are diagnosed with autoimmune diseases or simply are not yet candidates for the surgery, we can still help them with our medical treatments. Dr. Ronan has created a specific protocol that we call the Hair Max protocol, and it has really helped many patients help with their hair growth, slow down their hair loss, and really enhance our post-surgical patients with their hair results. If any of you are thinking or are experiencing hair loss, or any of your loved ones are experiencing hair loss, our consultations are free. You have nothing to lose to come in and really just get a proper diagnosis and proper information that can actually help you. So we accept all ages, and both male and female. Many females who are listening to us right now are experiencing hair loss. We can really help, especially with our medical treatments. So we're waiting here for you and are open to give you the proper information and the best route for your hair loss journey. So one of the first things we will do when you come in for your consultation after having gone through your medical history and your hair loss history is come to our dermoscopy room, where I take overall images of of your head, and then we go into the actual dermoscopy section. In this case, we will look through your complete hairline and hair scalp from the crown to the frontal area, and this is just to show you what we can actually accomplish as far as image is concerned. So as you see, we can really see a microscopic image of your scalp. This shows us your hair density, your hair miniaturization, if that's present, and also the condition of your scalp that will help us make the proper diagnosis for you. Once we have the full image and we do the proper hair count, our dermoscopy can give us a hair count of the actual follicles that we could possibly get during a hair restoration process. We go back to the consulting room and we discuss the treatment plan, and that is both for the pricing, the follow-ups, everything you need to know during the whole process of your hair restoration journey. Once we come up with a plan, and if surgery is indicated for you, we will discuss and go over your whole surgery day and all of their post-op care for after surgery. And Dr. Ronan will now explain what that day will look like for you.
Let's talk about the day of surgery, which happens here. This is our transplantation room. It's a nice, comfortable room with extra ventilation. We installed a bunch of extra lights to make it have less shadows and just a brighter light in here. This is the chair you'll be in for most of this long, boring day. It's kind of like 10 hours or so of kind of relaxation, if you want to look at it that way, but you'll kind of hang out here. This is the robot, and so the robot is pretty nice new technology where it actually will map out the back of your head, little chunks at a time, and then harvest the grafts robotically. It's pretty fantastic technology. We also will use a neograft. We can do manual FUE, and then we can also do strips if necessary. So as the day progresses, we'll be harvesting grafts, and then we'll take them over this way, and we'll have a couple technicians here working on these microscopes, and so they'll be examining each of the grafts, cleaning them up, preparing them for implantation, putting them in piles of 1, 2, or 3 hairs per graft, and just doing counts, so we know exactly how many grafts that we put into you. Above that, you'll see this TV screen, and so the TV screen does a couple of things. In the very beginning, when we're using the robot, we're projecting what the robot sees and a lot of the metrics, and so you can actually watch what the robot's doing if you like. But as the day goes on, we'll move things over to either music or Netflix, whatever you want. So while you're having your recipient sites made and your placements done, you can watch a couple movies here on Netflix. All right, I'm going to walk through three different patients that are a little different points in life, and review their story a little bit and what we did, and help you kind of see the process. So this first one's a young gentleman, professional, who lost a fair amount of hair on the front and top of his head at a pretty young age, and it was pretty devastating to him. He obviously didn't like what he was seeing and asked us to give him a hand, and so we did a hair transplantation for this young man. That process takes most of a day. So the way it typically works is you get a short haircut. We numb up the back of the head, which is typically where we take the grafts. So we numb this area up. We'll harvest the grafts. And then the next stage is we kind of numb the front and top. and we'll make little holes with a needle. Those are called recipient sites. So we create all of those. And then the third stage is when we take all the little tiny grafts and put them into the needle sticks, sort of implant them. Now, a typical graft is about 0.9 millimeters big. And again, we just use a needle stick as a recipient site. So it's very tiny. And when you make them very small like that, it becomes more undetectable. In the past, they used to do transplants with like 40 hairs, and it was the size of a pencil eraser. And I'm sure you guys have seen that in the past, and wasn't a very good look, kind of looked like a doll. But now we can do single 2, 3 hair grafts at a time in just a tiny needle stick. So on the perimeter in the front, we'll do all single hairs, and then as we get further back and more in the center, we can put 2, 3, or 4 hair grafts in order to provide more hair per graft. But along the perimeter in the front, we will just put in singles, so they'll essentially be invisible. You won't be able to tell that they were transplanted. So this gentleman went through that process, again, spent most of the day with us going through that, had a very nice growth. He actually came back and did a second transplant procedure after this to achieve some more density. So a nice young man, super thrilled, got his hair back, and it's a permanent solution for him. So we're pretty excited for him. For our next patient, this is a early 40s professional gentleman that had lost a fair amount of head on the frontal and middle areas of the scalp. And he came in and asked us to help him out, move a little bit of hair for him in the form of a hair transplantation. So we're happy to do that. So one of the things that we would do when he came in is examine his scalp with a dermoscope and see exactly what was going on, perhaps show him the miniaturization, hopefully healthy scalp otherwise. And then we could talk about the process of what we would use to harvest the grafts. We have lots of options available. One would be the robot, another would be a neograft machine, another would be a manual extraction of FUE, and then a fourth would be an FUT or strip technique. We don't do as many of those as they leave a linear scar, but in some cases, that's the best way to get the most grafts, oftentimes in females. So in this case, we use a neograft machine to do the harvesting, and this after picture is about 1 year later. So if you compare the before and after, because of the density of the hair and the proper framing and sort of normal look to his hair, it just makes him look like a younger guy. And so I thought it really kind of improved the appearance and did a great job for him. He's thrilled with it, and who knows, possibly might come back to get a few more. Our third patient tonight is a gentleman that had pretty diffuse loss from the crown all the way forward. Also had sort of an irregular shaped hairline, which bothered him. So he came in for a larger hair transplant, about 3,000 grafts, all done in one session. And he had a very vigorous response. And so, as you can see in his afters, he's got quite a bit more density on top of his head. And then we were able to adjust his hairline to kind of smooth that out. One of the things that is important with hairlines is that it not be perfectly smooth. We need to have some irregularity like a normal scalp would, and so we'll like deliberately make little tiny irregularities in the hairline to make it less conspicuous. So you have the hairs that grew on top of your head, we can maybe call those the natives, and we have the hairs that we take from the back and graft into the scalp, and those would be the grafts. And so the natives in the zone where you're losing hair are still subject to being lost over time. And so as your hormones go, and those hairs can still be miniaturized. So when you see his before picture, we're catching it at a point in time where it's like maybe 2/3, 3/4 gone, but he still has a fair amount of the natives. If you progress forward a number of years, he'll lose the natives. And so I actually saw this gentleman a week or so ago at a social event, and he kind of let me know that he's lost some of the natives over the last 5, 6, 7 years, and he's ready to do a second procedure and kind of load back up. And so that's an important thing to realize, is that we'll try to plan at your first consult what we think your hair is going to look like in the future, so that we can provide you a result that will always look natural. So he still looks great, just not quite as dense as he did in his after picture here. But overall, still looks really good. And so we'll plan your transplant to make sure that you look good, even if you have subsequent hair loss. And we'll have a plan to execute if you do, what we might do to kind of keep up with that. In addition, we have medical hair treatments along with our surgical transplant treatments. And so we can help you extend your natives and or strengthen them or improve them with some of the hair medical treatments we do, like our own Hair Max procedure. I'd like to close tonight's virtual event by thanking all of you that attended. Thank you so much. Especially a big shout out and thank you goes to all of our existing patients at Blackhawk Plastic Surgery and Hair Restoration Center. I, Adriane, my entire staff, absolutely love taking care of all of you. We love to try to help you reach all of your hair and aesthetic goals. We've really enjoyed becoming one of Northern California's largest and most advanced plastic surgery and hair restoration centers. It's all because of you guys, and so we thank you very much. For anybody who's currently not a patient of ours, I encourage you to stop by our office at Blackhawk Plaza and check in, say hello, have a tour. You can have a no obligation free consultation with myself and Adriane, discuss any of the hair restoration and treatment options that we have available for you. So thank you very much, and we hope to see you all soon. For right now, let's go on to our Q&A segment and see what kind of questions you guys got for us, or maybe a couple that might stump us, who knows. Thanks a lot.